It's Base Trade TV.
What is he talking about? Zamagub, any insight here before I go into introductions?
I don't actually know what he's talking about.
Alright, well, we'll take a look at the map as it's one of the newer maps, guys, in a moment. But I want to point out... Oops, sorry, I've got the scores reversed here. One sec. There we go. It is a best of 7. This has been the $100 show match series, and it's been a lot of fun so far. We got some good games out of both of these players, but this is possibly it. Hopefully not, though. Down 2 to his opponent's 3, spawning in the lower left corner of the map. It's going to be the Purple Terran player from Millennium, Dayshi.
In the top right, as the red Zerg, it is Axiom's Impact.
Of course, this is going to be one of the newer maps in Season 2, guys, so prepare for it now, and that's part of why we're taking a look at this. I haven't seen this map yet, so let's go ahead and zoom out and take a quick look. The main base is pretty darn big, and the natural base... Maybe he's talking about the choke at the natural?
I don't know,
I'm
but you know, even though the main is big, it's actually not that good for Reapers. There's not a lot of spaces to hop down.
Yeah, there's only the 2 paths directly. It's like a bigger habitation station in that regard, but...
Yeah, kind of.
The third base is kind of interesting. I mean, there's several ways into it eventually, but the debris there to start. There's a huge opening over here.
It's actually somewhat of a question of which base you take. Now, Zergs are going to take that one in the north.
Oh, there's gold.
Terrans should take the one in the south to the right of them. But does Dayshi realize that? Or is he thinking, take the one in front of me like many other maps where you take the one in front of you, in front of your main? Don't take that one. For the love of God, don't do it, Dayshi.
That's interesting. I mean, the nice thing about this too, guys, is what we get to see in this is players' adaptability. Now, granted, these guys are going to probably grind out a ton of games on the ladder eventually to get comfortable with each of these maps. But it's worth noting, Dayshi, he said himself, like, he just doesn't know the maps. Impact probably also doesn't really know the maps. This isn't part of the current map pool. It's not currently part of any tournament pool. But as we move into Season 2 of WCS, we're going to see these maps over and over and over again. So we're getting a real first glance, a rare opportunity to see how players adapt to something in the unknown. Because by the time they're performing in WCS, they've played hundreds of maps or games on these maps through practice partners, through ladder matches, and what have you. But this is kind of one of those rarer opportunities, I suppose.
This is a good map for the 3 Reaper pressure and a lot of Hellions and Banshees, for sure. And very easy to get up on top of, you know, it's not a ramp up to the natural, it's just a straight shoot, so that makes it really, really nice. But getting a third, even though you don't want to take that north one because it is really hard to take, the one that you're supposed to get, quote unquote, like it's not really discovered yet, I'm sure people will argue different things, off to the right of what Dayshi is getting, is also really hard to keep. There's just so many possibilities of Ling Ron-bys over there.
First blood.
Well, gets the Reaper back for now.
If I were to suggest something for Dayshi, I would suggest something that didn't rely on a fast third command center, like a 2-base push. Not only because I think that getting a third on this map is hard, but also it's just something he hasn't done yet. Well, I tried doing a Widowmine drop, but that didn't really work out.
I like early pressure versus Zerg too. I mean, for those who missed it a little while ago, we cast a show match between Bunny and Snoot, and Bunny showed some really fantastic play in that regard. Like, just these early Marine pushes, coupled with the Hellions, things that these Zerg players typically aren't aware of or aren't prepared for. Those sort of builds might be Daishi's best friend in this sort of scenario. I'm still poking back and forth, though.
It's nice micro, nice harass. He's not going to be able to get the queen with just 2 Reapers, I feel. Like, that.
Eventually you will.
Right, eventually, but I'm saying, like, Impact should notice and, like, put that queen away, right?
Yeah, and he's done precisely that, puts it towards the main.
Yeah, so, not gonna happen. Dayshi does throw down a 3rd command center, so it's gonna be very typical. I'm a little sad about that, but, you know, he's trying to, you know, I don't know. He's comfortable with it, I suppose.
Ling's not gonna be able to get much done here, sadly. You can just out-repair 2 Lings, it's a real non-issue, so getting the Hellions out will be fine. He does need to repair that reactor, though. You can't just let them hammer away at this. Even if it's just 1 SCV.
You know, they're just coming back.
But still, I think it's going to be burning. Or it'll be close to it.
It's
not
on
quite.
Smoking, it's on fire.
No, not quite. It gets an SUV though, building the supply depot. So this wall, I think this choke looks a lot bigger, but I guess these doodads on the left and the right are actually physical blockers. So this looks really scary at first glance, but I think it's perfectly fine.
A full supply depot wall off here actually is really awkward. I'm not sure it actually closes. So we'll find out.
Normally you want to have a bunker in there anyways, so just mix it up.
Bunkers are for losers.
Whoa.
Again, Jesus.
Whoa, hang on. Look at these engineering bays going down in not entirely vulnerable positions, but still
I know, it's weird. That's so weird.
a little bit out of the ordinary. But he is double engineering bay early on, and this is worth noting, because as a Terran player, your upgrades, they do come eventually, of course, but usually you're behind your Zerg opponent. That is one thing worth noting for Dayshi. Out of, I believe, I could be wrong on this, I think every game we've had, though, he's been the one who's been quicker to the upgrades. And normally it's the other way around. Like, the Terran player will get to 3-3 before a Zerg player, because, you know, Hive Tech, but normally it's, you know, 1-1 finish up quickly for a Zerg player, 2-2 shortly after.
You're right. Bunker did go down, by the way, so it's a perfect wall off now.
Sir, you calling Dayshi a loser zombie grub?
Yes, I am. Who gets a
Shame.
bunker nowadays? Jesus.
Heavy sarcasm for those who are unable to pick up on it. But I like this push, actually. With a couple, it's not 2 Reapers, it's 3, and it's a lot of Hellions behind this, too. That one extra Reaper is a ton of extra DPS. One of these Queens is already pretty low from early on. Ling's going to try and run in here, but with a nice little stutter step. Actually takes very minimal damage, though. Is there not quite enough energy for Transfuse yet?
I don't know if he really wants to push in. He is, though.
Unfortunately, it's not Hellbats, though, and the angle of which he takes the circling fight is just not working out for him. But gets enough by. Goes towards the main. There's only one Queen up here, and I mean, even if the Reapers don't, or, sorry, even if the Hellions go down, oh, nice kills on these drones. But even if the Hellions go down, there's still the Reapers, and 3 Reapers can still kill workers. Oh my god, 14 kills so far.
I'm honestly surprised he did so much damage, but
he's not done yet.
2 more kills.
17 workers killed. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
That was actually really surprising that he did so much damage. I thought just with the Lings and how they managed to stop him, it wouldn't work out, but it did. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have any really good anti-Ling defense, so if he wants to try and take a third anytime soon, it's going to be kind of hard.
Okay, it doesn't look very CC. I wasn't sure if he had built that or not, but one Marine in the bunker. SCVs need to be pulled. I mean, they will hold versus this, but it's just awkward to see one Marine in a bunker. 2 more do join it now, of course, and now we get the production for Dayshi up 2, which is kind of key. We'll call it, his production wasn't necessarily slow or late, but when you invest in that many Hellions and Reapers early on, everything you build infrastructure will be delayed ever so slightly.
The Spire for Impact's actually going to be quite late. That layer was not timed well, I suppose, especially with the Hellions running in like they did. So the push that Daishi's going to be following up with, you know, the typical push, it's actually going to be able to pick up and leave as opposed to just straight out die if he gets overwhelmed.
Well, army completes too, so he's not gonna have that late. I feel like he's really embracing his mistakes so that he's made in the previous series. Like, we talk about Dayshi possibly being on tilt, sure, whatever. He can feel how he feels about lag, latency, the new maps, etc. But he's playing really, I feel, sharp this game.
I like it too. You know, he played very standard, and he's also not trying anything too. He's actually being kind of conservative. I mean, that third's going to be kind of late. It's not like really late, but people have tried and taken thirds a lot faster in TVZ. And he's being really cautious about moving out. He doesn't want to be swamped by 50 Lings that are outside of his base.
Yeah, and his timings are crisp too. I mean, he's not floating minerals or anything. Daishi's playing this, and I'm not trying to ride Dayshi here, guys. Like, I'm not the Dayshi fanboy, but he's actually playing this pretty well. 2-2's well on the way here. We got Banelings coming up soon, sure, but with the top of the ramps combined with the fact that there's not enough creep spread to really push forward aggressively for impact just yet, I think taking this third won't be that big of an issue for Dayshi. Now, what's really nice is if he actually walls this off properly, he won't have to worry about that Baneling run by harass that he's been suffering from, I'll say, from most of these games.
Yeah, if he does keep in mind to go ahead and try and do a supply wall off. Well, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, we're going to run into Marines.
Nice try, though, from Impact.
Actually kills the SCV building the bunker, hilariously enough.
You know, Dayshi did not push when I thought he would. By 12 minutes, I thought he would have pushed already, you know? And that's when I was talking about the medevacs being able to pick him up and leave. Instead, he's going to sit here. He also forgot to make one medevac, so that's why it's coming a little later. But now the meters are going to be out, so the opportunity of drops, not that powerful.
It's a little bit worrisome too, because as a Terran player, you never really want to let your Zerg opponent just sort of sit back and do what they want. 3 Queens up here, they look a little bit off place, but the creep's right here, so this is pretty standard stuff. But focuses down most of the Banelings. Only about 1 remains. This army can certainly take a fight if he wants to. They should be very cautious though, and very safe. He knows this is his last life he's on, and can't risk throwing it away for nothing. But he's going to get the Watchtower control here too, which would be really nice. Cleans up some creep on his way. This is a really strong push coming though, and he really outnumbers Impact as far as the supply goes. But as he trades out these Banelings, Impact's also going to struggle to stay in this game. He doesn't have a lot of Mutalisks to follow this up, and normally you want to have a lot of Mutalisks to follow this up.
Impact's going to be actually pretty hard pressed to go ahead and take a really good engagement. He's down by about 15 supply, where usually you want to be up 15 supply. He can still entirely swamp this army as long as Dayshi, really messes up. But that's
I like
banking
that
on
spread. This pre-spread out of Dayshi is
Yeah.
really nice. Give me this. Most of the Bailey's taken out before they can connect.
actually really
Ooh,
nice.
really nice connection there on the left side, but there's too many Marines left over for the Mutalists to engage in. And this is precisely what I was talking about. Impact might have 4 bases right now, guys, but he doesn't really have an army to fight with.
He's not mining for the 4th base either. That was taken, but not really used. And he also attacked right before T2 finished.
It's going to be a lot about Larva, too, before anything else, but... Alright, we got Bailings on the way here for Impact. Does he have enough is going to be the big question. It's currently 13, and you guys have to consider, as these trade out, you don't keep the Bailings, so it's got to be enough to make the army small enough for the Mutalisks to engage. But there's only 7 Mutalisks. That's what's really so scary about this. Is so much of Impact's gas is being put into Bailings, he can't make an insane amount of Mutalisks. He can't make that 20 or 30 you'd love to have, but still taking decent engagements here in the middle of the map. Oh, what am I? Should get some good connects this time on those Bailings. Does take them out. And looks like he's going to continue to push. Mutalisk being completely shredded here. Dayshi is in a really good position here for a fight, but unfortunately for Impact, he just doesn't have the Bailings. Dayshi spreads once again, focus firing on top of the Bailings. Oh, Zombie go. There's enough lings
to clean it up.
Yeah, but the Mutalisk count is what you want to keep down. I mean, you can let an opponent get 200 lings. It's not going to matter. It's about keeping those Mutalisks low.
Ah, those are nice Widowmine hits too. Band right there. No Overseer to help out Impact. And as you said, the Mutalisk count is just really very low. Dayshi might just be able to reinforce, pack up a little bit, and push to win.
He's still almost double the supply of Impact. And every time Impact trades, he comes out a little bit further behind. I mean, the resources lost is disgusting to look at right now, if we're going to be completely honest. But simply not enough Bailings here, not enough Mutalisks to even threaten the Medivacs to pick up these units at retreat. Rarely do you see this. Normally the Mutalisks are in hot pursuit and the Medivacs will go down, but the key thing as well, because he doesn't have to invest in more gas and more minerals to replace these Medivacs that are not dying, he has a much larger army on the ground to reflect that.
Impact just really taking a beating from, yeah, especially from the early Hellion Robot. I mean, he killed 17 drones, which is really, really nice, but I still wouldn't expect the Impact to be quite so far behind.
It's kind of cool too. These this debris is keeping Dayshi from really pushing in there. He's only got one angle of attack. It looks a lot like he could go for multiple spots, but this is the one spot he can really fight in, which is why he's centralizing all of his attention here. But more Bailings finish up in just a moment here. He rolls in with the first set. Dayshi does spread, and the spread is really good.
Yeah, consistently spreading. Farther and farther back they go. Impact still has some Banelings left over, trying to go in for round number 2, but Dayshi kept so much of his army alive.
And Widowmine's lived through that too. It's not just Marines,
yeah.
it's Widowmines, it's Marauders. Filtering it back here through... He's got a SCV on the front line, maybe to repair these Medivacs, I don't know. But without any Banelings left, it's only a small handful of Mutals, and Dayshi seizes his opportunity. He seizes it, and he pushes. This third base ideally should go down. The Banelings are morphing, but they're simply not enough and not in time. Oh, starting to lose some Medivacs, though. Ooh, Dayshi gotta be careful with that. But looking pretty darn good right now in his position. He's gotta be careful. The Marines are top of the Banelings, but never mind. That could have been scary if this had finished for that first set of Marines, but filtering too much across the map, ladies and gentlemen, Dayshi will tie the series up now 3-3, and Impact is left with 2 map selections. I can't get out of game screen. There we go. So what's left? It's going to be either Way Station or New Polaris Rhapsody. So do you risk the map that you don't know, Way Station, for the map that you've seen multiple times that has gimmicky lava mechanics, or do you do it the other way around? Impact's got to think hard about this. We'll give him a few moments, guys, to think about it while we hop to commercial break.